ब्रह्मा ने।
तो मीठी मीठी प्यारी प्यारी बातें सुनाते हैं। जैसे कहा जाता है यथा राजा रानी तथा प्रजा, तो सतयुग में या स्वर्ग में तो बहुत मीठे होते हैं। इतने तो मीठे हो गए हैं, अभी भी उनकी बड़े प्यार से पूजा करते हैं, गोद में लेते हैं। तो जरूर सभी ऐसे मीठे होंगे, क्योंकि ये राजकुमार है तो जरूर महाराजा बनते होंगे। तो यथा राजा महाराजा महारानी तथा प्रजा, वहाँ देखने में ऐसे आते हैं। तो कभी भी ये जो देवमान वगैरह वगैरह जो है वो किसी ध्यान में किसके नहीं है होते हैं, समझा ना। ऐसी कुछ बात होती है नाराजगी की या कोई भी चीज की, उनके बुद्धि में होता ही नहीं, तो ऐसे कुछ बात होती होगी। और सबका मूल कारण है ही पवित्रता, क्योंकि कैरेक्टर होते हैं ना, इसको कैरेक्टर कहते हैं। कर्म तो अच्छी कर्म है बच्चे, और उनके साथ दूसरा विचार कर्म है, वो एक नहीं है तो फिर दूसरे चार भी नहीं है, बल्कि ये है ही नहीं, वो निरावनी नहीं है। तो इनके जो भी ये है देहमान काम तो लोग ये हुआ होते ये नहीं है। अब ये ड्रामा के प्लान अनुसार है तो बच्चों को सभी मालूम पड़ा। अभी सत्य त्रेता में जब रावण ही नहीं है तो वह दुख हो ही नहीं सकते हैं। ये भी तुम बच्चे समझ लो, जो समझदार बच्चे हैं, क्योंकि बच्चे समझदार बन रहे हैं। ये तो बाप भी कहते हैं कि अभी कोई कोई बच्चे में कोई ऐसे कुछ कम जासी होता होगा, बन रहे हैं, पुरुषार्थ कर रहे हैं लायक बनने पर स्थान के, तो कहा जाता है परियों के स्थान के। और तो कोई परिया हो नहीं सकते न बच्ची है सत्य के सराधानी से, और कोई परिया का नाम हो सकते हैं कहा नहीं। हर प्रकार की खुशी, धन दौलत, ब्यूटी, और बहुत काल के लिए, तभी तो सन्यासी यहाँ के लिए कहते हैं। तो ये जो दुनिया है इसमें है कम विष्टा समान सुख, थोड़ा बहुत सुख, और भेंट की जाती है तो बरोबर वहाँ के एवल में यहाँ खिला भर का सुख है। बाप समझते भी है, तो बच्चों से अभी भूले चुके होती रहती होंगी जरूर। सभी कोई सोलह कला तो नहीं बने ना बच्चे, तो जितना हो सके इतना भूल चुकों से कुछ कम हो इतना अच्छा है। तुम बच्चों को जैसे बाप और दादा को बगीचा देखने में आते हैं फूलों का, बन रहे हैं ना यहाँ, तुम बच्चे भी एक दो को चेतन फूलों को जड़ तो नहीं ना, समझते तो होंगे नहीं। ये कमल का फूल है, ये उसका मोती का फूल है, ये फला फूल है, ये तो समझते होंगे नहीं। अभी तो थोड़े है, जब भी बहुत आते हैं एक एक ब्राह्मणी से पूछे जाते हैं तो फर्क तो रहते हैं बच्चे। तो ही गाया जाता है ह्यूमन फ्लावर्स, तुम फ्लावर्स बन रहे हो, तो ह्यूमन कांटे तो नाम तो रखा जाते हैं नहीं। तो कांटा सतयुग में होता नहीं है, फूल कलयुग में होता नहीं है। जब आप आवे तब आकर चेंज करें। अच्छा बच्ची बाजा बजाओ।
सत्य बाप और सतयुग को याद सदा ही रखना, ब्रह्मा वत्सो नई दुनिया का नव निर्माण है करना। दैवी ताज तख्त तुम लेना, दैवी ताज तख्त तुम लेना, बन के तिलकधारी।
मीठे मीठे सिक्के दे रूहानी बच्चों पे माता पिता बाप दादा का याद प्यार और गुड नाइट।
Om Shanti. Welcome to Vyakti Parivar. Today is day 8. Smriti Swarup. Didi Mohini, Bap Saman, Supersensuous joy of a true Gopi. My Smriti is supersensuous joy and my Swarup is a true Gopi. Now we will listen to Mohini Didi.
Om Shanti, Vyakti Parivar. So it's nice to meet all of you. We are very, very fortunate that we are able to listen to Brahma Baba speaking morally. Really feels as very sweetly, lovingly, Baba sits and shares with us. Baba never gave lectures, right? Baba says, I am father. I talk to my children. And I know that numbers at that time were not big like in history hall. 120, 140 can sit. So, but then when there were larger number, like when Baba will visit Delhi, it will be 2000. So Baba had to use mic. He said, Father doesn't speak on mic with children. He used to like to just sit and chat with children. And, while listening, we will be so absorbed with the way lovingly, sweetly, it penetrates, but also helps us. As Baba said, it's very, very important to be sweet. So it was really lovely to listen to Baba. And then I think that most of you know a lot about Dadi Prakashmani. And of course, with Dadi Janki. Majority of you must have met Dadi in Madhuban, Peace Village. Today someone wrote to me and said that I'm in Gyan for 10 years, but because of whatever reason, I couldn't go to Madhuban. And that was like in my heart always, that why I didn't do it. But when in a Vyakti Parivar, when I listen to Baba and to Dadis, I'm feeling very, very fulfilled. And I don't have that feeling of why I deprived myself of Madhuban. Few others wrote, I was reading experiences, and what they're getting is that bringing the ancestor souls and little bit on their divine, on their life, but also their teachings is giving everyone a good experience. I actually am very fortunate, especially being very close to dadis. Actually, not only these 3, 4 dadis, actually all dadis. There were so many of them. When I came, they were all different centers, and Baba will send me to every center I went, and I got their love and the food and their gifts and belonging. Very, very beautiful. But I was especially very lucky to actually be, I was sustained and personally taught by Didi Manmohini. Now you must have noticed that when many came, no, hundreds of them, and Baba wanted them to give different name so that they don't think of name and family and body consciousness. So one of the trans messenger brought so many names, and a lot of them had Mohini, right? Ratan Mohini, Hridaya Mohini. So when I came, Gyan Baba used to say, "It's all right, you are with everyone," because their last name is Mohini, right? But Mohini Didi, actually, when came to Baba, her name was Gopi. But as soon as she saw Baba, she just felt that she just belonged to Baba and she has to serve. So she, her mother, we call her Queen Mother, and her younger sister, we call her Shilendra Dadi, was very, very powerful soul. So they all came in Gyan, and actually they belong to a very, very big family from Singapore. Sunrise until now is their stores are famous and known. But 3 of them just decided that we have to surrender. It was quite a big revolt in a sense of, because when you belong to a community and so everyone was kind of why they have to do it, but there is no control. In the sense, they were so pulled by Baba, and they said, we're not going to spend our time or life just doing whatever we have to do as a householder. So they surrender. So her name was Gopi. And Gopi means, you all know, the reference comes with Sri Krishna, that when Sri Krishna will play the flute, all the gopis, they will just run, leave everything. Even they are cooking or whatever, they just will run. So it's like very incognito love for Murli. And in the beginning, it's not we had machines for making copies or nothing. So everyone has diary and write the points of the Murli, and then write in such a way. No, once Baba said, you should write in a way that anyone can read it. Sometimes some of us just write it and we think, I have to read it, I will manage. So they used to make notes in the morning Murli. Like I remember when I was in London with Dadi Janki, Shantamani Dadi used to send her notes. So everyone knew where to send notes. And 4 o'clock afternoon at tea time, Dadi Janki will tell all of us, come sit. It was kind of, if you want tea, you have to be here. And so we all will listen to those notes from the Murli. So Didi will study Murli understanding Gyan, but also what is Srimad? What are the directions of Baba? And she always will say, we have to follow all directions of Baba, whether they are for dharna, for service, for whatever. I remember in Delhi, we were about, of course, a lot of students, we were 20, 22 kanyas of almost same age group between 18 to 20s, 22. And I was myself was 18 or 19. And she will, kind of, I call them, it's very beautiful way that they tell you what is the right way to do things. We call it shiksha, like guru shiksha, not like teacher is teaching, is different. But this was like, she will say to me, look, I am your friend. I want to tell you this before anyone else says or you realize, I want to tell you. Very lovingly as a friend, she will point out. I'm saying point out because, these days you can't point out, right? But I always felt that whenever she said something, it was like a blessing. Like I remember that one time she said that, we went to see someone who was not too well. And that person must be saying something, I never get sick. And so I just said, well, anyone can get sick, no? Didi said, you can't say that. She immediately said, you never remind anyone of what that person has said or could have done. Why didn't do? And in Hindi, we call it ulena. It's like reminding that person of, oh, you said this, you didn't do it. She said, no, you have to give blessing. And I don't remember that. I still remember the room and person and Vardhan ke bol bolo. Speak the words of blessing. And then, because as we had to go on service, sometimes we will come late night or so it was okay because we are Baba's children, but not very safe at night time. And she will say, have the awareness, you are world mother, Jagat Mata ho, you are world mother. And we say, okay, we will cover our head after lecture and sit. Those days we didn't have taxis or cars. In that three-wheeler scooter, sit in that and reach center. And okay, safe because I'm world mother. And I know that my personality always remained more motherly because of Didi. She taught us, don't feel you are young. And if you are really Shiv Shakti, no one will look at you with body conscious vision. And then she had really discipline, especially of Amrit Vela. And also, like the way they lived 14 years of their life in Yagya. And they had just come out, so they wanted us to be like that. So I enjoyed her instructions or corrections, whatever you call it, both ways. I really enjoyed it because there should be someone who could be able to tell you, right? Otherwise, everyone, yes, very good. It's like they know if they praise you, appreciate you, you will like them. But with Dadi, this is what Didi, So one time I had, it was like, she wanted me to give class, somebody canceled. So when she said, you have to give class in 10 minutes, So generally we would say, but it's good if I had known before so that I could have prepared. She said, no. Are you Ganges? I said, this is what Baba says. So what Ganges need to do, those who have to take, they inform the Ganges that I am coming. And I never forget that day. It was midday. And after that, I always, anytime you have to give knowledge, give class, you cannot say, I don't know. I am not prepared. So she said, are you a pond or Ganges? I said, nobody wants to be pond, right? It has all kinds of uh, weeds around and all that. And since then, I remember that no, we have to be Ganges. And Ganges are flowing constantly. I don't know how many of you have gone to Haridwar. How many of you have gone? So Haridwar, if you sit by the bank of Ganges, you really sit and you could hear beautiful music of the waves of Ganges. Very beautiful. Once we had taken Dadi Janki, so they all went around. I had been to Haridwar many times. So that was our vacation for the family to go to our Guru's ashram there. So very beautiful waves and cool, very nice. So it is my eyes and the sound of the Ganges, but words of Didi, amazing. You are Ganges, let the still the pond is like still water. Ganges is flowing. That means you are churning, you are reflecting. So it's like sweet waves, the music of that, and of course it purifies. So I can talk of so many, but we will every day little bit. But one of Didi's quality was all relationships with Baba. And also like what we are talking about, you will know more, that she was like really, really not only following Srimad, disciplines, timetable, and always thinking what Baba has said, we have to do it. That's what she will always talk with us. This hasn't been done. This has to be done. I remember once they were planning to have a museum. I was still in university. It was in Jaipur. So Baba said, museum. So we all Kanyas were sitting and Didi said, who will go? So we don't know what is museum, what we going to do. If we know, yes, we can. And she looked at me, she said, you're not saying yes even? So I said, yeah, I will go if I know what I have to do. Anyway, I'm just giving that how for her, yes or no. One day during day, she said, you have to offer both. So my face was showing little resistance. She said, I only asked once. I knew that means she won't ask me any other time. So I said, okay. So she taught how to say yes, how to be overflowing all the time, what words we should speak, like every step. If Didi is around, you get to come to know. So once there was a big thing on my generation and their generation, right? They stayed 14 years. Yeah, we all had come, were in universities and still living in a little bit modern way. And one time we sat and we said, but we had a lot of love and respect, but resistance maybe to certain disciplines. And we sat and we talked. And I still remember in Bombay when we all were together, Dadis and some of us, that how do we fill in the gap where they also see from where we coming and we see from where they coming. right? So it was very, very beautiful. And because of her Gopi Supersensuous joy, and only I belong to Baba, Baba belongs to me. Only one Baba was sweet, loving, but very disciplined and firm. And I feel great because from young person, if you get right direction, instructions, even any word which was not right, she will correct us. I used to go at that time to schools for morning prayer to give lecture. And I don't know, one word which I must have was, I felt like, no, sometimes you don't get right word to speak. I said something. And someone told Didi that she said like this. Didi said, no, you can't. I said, I knew, but no other word was coming. So that means she didn't like us to come even little bit below standard to say something. Or that's why one of the discipline in my life is I have a lot of control on my words and everything because I keep remembering what Didi taught me. And of course, super sensitive joy, Baba is only mine. So I'm really grateful to think that how Didi played a very major part in my life. And I have so much I could share about Didi. Shrimat, Amrit Vela, discipline, and also image, divine image. And then when she said to give drishti, the tradition was all the double foreigners, of course, others, one by one will go in Didi's room, take drishti, and she will tell you what to do when you leave Madhuban. So after a few years, she kept telling me every time. Then I said, Didi, can I tell now what I have to do? You don't need to tell. So when I said 1, 2, 3, okay, so last one thing is she taught us to be ever ready, to be humble, always ready for whatever direction Baba gives. I am amazed to think of how many big things we did because Baba wanted us to do. Because if he wants, he will give you power, resources, you do it. But first thing we say, I don't think I have done something like that. I don't know from where money will come. I don't know. But Baba said, I am telling you, you do it. My whole life had been experiences of just do it. Baba is saying it and see the magic and the power and the protection, the resources, everything Baba provides. So I have a lot of love, respect for Didi Manmohini, and I'm happy that I could talk about her. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you. So it's wonderful to listen about our Mohini Didi ji, right? So this week will be Mohini Didi sharing. And for more to listen more about Mohini Didi, Mohini Didi ji, I would like to invite an angel, Sister Gayatri. Welcome, Sister Gayatri.
So today we start the first day of our second ancestor soul and their Smriti Swarup. And it is indeed a privilege for me to be doing DDG. So we will spend the next 7 days in experiencing the delightful personality of the one and only DDG. When I came to Gyan, there was one Didi, and she was called DDG. DDG fell in love with Baba, and the rest faded into insignificance. In the archives of the Brahma Kumaris, there is only one class of DDG. I suppose this was so because her ratio for becoming Bapsaman was 90% being, she calls it being in the original stage, in Baba's remembrance, and 10% speaking. Didiji's Smriti Swarup came from a simple formula. Baba spoke, she listened, she remembered, and she lived. Her Smriti Swarup took shape from the blessings she received from Baba, and her innocent response to those blessings was to believe in them, to become them, and to be the being he wanted her to be. So, over the days, I will share excerpts from Baba speaking to Didi. I'll share her core practice of remembrance, and I'll share her natural emergence of a soul conscious awareness that she developed in becoming Bap Saman. We will start with what was most natural to her when she first came to Baba. And what was most natural to her was she embodied her name. She was a Gopi of Krishna. And so, what was unusual to DDG that I think was a little bit the same for all the other daddies, but with DDG, there was this special bond between her and Baba. So, whenever Baba would come, he would speak to her personally, and everyone was ears. What was Baba going to say to Didi? What was he going to say to her? We all want to know. So in this particular, because there are not so many classes, there's just one class from DDG, I had to go back to what Baba said to her to make sense out of how she developed her Smriti Swarup. And so in this particular piece that Baba spoke to Didi, he was speaking to her like she was his Gopi. So this is what he said to her. The specialty of being a Brahmin is to experience supersensuous joy. And then he went into a kind of conversation with her. Who will be able to live in the palaces on the banks of the river Jamuna? Those who have stepped away from the old world for all time and have made Baba their constant companion. Who will study with Sri Krishna? Those who have special parts of constantly teaching and studying will also be the companions in teaching and studying there. Who will dance with Krishna? Those who perform the dance of making their sanskaras the same as the fathers at the confluence age will dance there. Who will become part of the royal family? Those who constantly maintain the royalty of their purity, whose vision is never attracted to limited attractions, and who are constantly decorated with all the symbols, are the ones who will become part of the royal family. Who will become the heirs? Those who constantly have a right here and never become subservient to Maya, but who maintain the pure intoxication of having a right, are the ones who will have a right there. The memorial of this is the picture in which each Gopi is shown with Gopi Vallabh, the father of the Gopis. The sound emerging from each and every one of you Gopis is my Gopi Vallabh. DDG's Lokik name, as Sister Mohini has told us, was Gopi. DDG met Baba as his true Gopi, and she experienced the divine delight of supersensuous joy. She fell in love with Baba, the beloved, and felt the joy of the entire ocean in just one drop of his love. And drop by drop, her honest heart kept dancing in supersensuous joy. So, brothers and sisters, if you want to know about supersensuous joy, ask Gopi. So, tomorrow you will be finding that out, what it is like to be a Gopi in supersensuous joy. This Smriti Swarup emerged from the realization of Mera to Shiv Baba ek dusro na koi. Mine is only one Shiv Baba and no one else. As you heard from Sister Mohini, Amrit Vela and Murli were the times most important to Didi Ji. She shares the practice of embodying joy and never becoming disheartened in this little video clip that we will be listening to now.
बाबा कहे पहले पहले सवेरे उठते ही गुड मॉर्निंग करके और जब जो टाइम अपॉइंटमेंट मिला है उस टाइम पर ही बच्चे जिस समय भी बैठते हैं उस समय जैसे शरीर से डिटैच होकर के और पूरा कनेक्शन बाबा के साथ.
Baba has given us a fixed time early in the morning. Wake up at that time, say good morning to Baba, and that fixed time, let there be the practice of becoming detached from the body and forge a full, total connection with Baba.
बस पूरा संबंध भी जुट जाता है ऑटोमेटिकली और कनेक्शन भी जुट जाते हैं. ये सब तब होता है जब मीठे बच्चे आप शरीर से अशरीरी बन करके और बाबा से मिले.
At that time, you're able to forge a connection with him and experience all the relationship with him. And when you practice that separation from the consciousness of the body, then you're able to experience a full connection with him.
तो उसी समय का जो मिलना है वो सारे ही दिन में बहुत मदद करता है.
The meeting of that time is something that helps us throughout the whole day.
लेकिन न सिर्फ नियम पूर्वक मिलना है लेकिन बिल्कुल ही जैसे उस अवस्था में ठहर करके यानी शरीर से अशरीर कभी भी आप नाउमीद नहीं होना. ये अभ्यास चलता रहे.
Don't just sit at that time out of discipline, but let there be that detachment from the body and forging a connection with him in such a way. And whilst doing that, never become disheartened.
फिर दूसरा पीरियड आया. क्लास में आकर के प्यारे बाप दादा के मधुर बोल सुने और वो सब मधुर बोल जो सुने वो मीठे मीठे जो महावाक्य है और साथ में डायरेक्शन मिलते हैं, कहीं फरमान मिलते हैं. एक ही मुरली से कई प्रकार का हम बच्चों को डायरेक्शन मिलते हैं.
And then there is the second period when we come to class to listen to Baba's versions. At that time, we receive directions from Baba. We also receive orders from Baba.
Thank you. Her voice is the sweetest voice I've heard. She has such a beautiful voice. So now for the homework, and the homework will be based on what Didi just said. So for Amrit Vela, it's a very simple thing that you'll be focusing on, and something that was very meaningful to her in developing her Smriti. Now, the Swarup is being a Gopi, the Smriti is the supersensuous joy. So, how does that take shape and form is what she focuses on. And that is Mera to Shiv Baba Ek Dusro Na Koi. Mine is only one Shiv Baba and no one else. So that will be your focus for tomorrow morning. Your Smriti will be supersensuous joy, and your Swarup will be a true Gopi. And then the during the day is exactly what she said, a part of what she said when she spoke. The Smriti Swarup will be, I am a true Gopi experiencing supersensuous joy. But the practice to help support that is to be detached from the body and to forge a connection with Baba in such a way that I never become disheartened. So I keep my supersensuous joy at the highest level. So you'll practice that during the day in that Smriti Swarup stage of a true Gopi and supersensuous joy. And then for the night, what I thought, rather than having a conversation with Baba, it's to develop a reflection, something that you want to say to him. So I'm giving you an example from what Didi would have said to Baba before she would have gone to sleep as a Gopi, but you could also develop your own. She would have said, in the awareness of mine is only one Shiv Baba and no one else, I experienced supersensuous joy with my friend Gopi Vallabh. I have a full and complete connection with him. And then she would have gone to sleep in that reflection. So I hope that you'll be able to do these three simple things tomorrow and stay in the Smriti Swarup of a true Gopi and supersensuous joy. And now I'd like to invite us all to go into our 5-minute collective remembrance of Baba and to focus on the supersensuous joy of a true Gopi.
सांसों की माला में जिसकी यादें हैं पिरोई, सांसों की माला में जिसकी यादें हैं पिरोई, मेरे तो शिव बाबा एक दूसरो न कोई.
ओम शांति. देखो, ओम शांति का महामंत्र बोलने हमको प्यारे बाप दादा की महावाक्य याद दिलाते हैं.
Om Shanti. The sweet words of Om Shanti remind us of beloved Bap Dada's supreme versions.
तो अकाल तख्त पर विराजमान हो जाओ, अपनी स्वधर्म की सीट पकड़ लो, तो जैसी रही वृत्ति वैसी रहेंगी दृष्टि, वैसी रहेंगी अवस्था.
So become seated on the immortal throne, catch hold of your stage of your original religion. So then, as is your attitude, so will be your vision, and then so will be your stage.
Om Shanti. Thank you very much. That was very, very beautiful. Thank you, Sister Gayatri. So now we will listen from Mohini Didi and then we will remember Baba for closing.
Om Shanti. It was really beautiful experience sitting with Didi, taking the Drishti from Didi. Very, very powerful, deep silence. I just want to say a few words about supersensuous joy because in Hindi we call it Ati Indriya Sukh. Now, generally, any kind of pleasure, any kind of joy comes through the sense organs. Like if I smell something and I say, wow, so sweet. And if I see something beautiful, then I have taste of something and I say, so tasty. So the joy and the pleasure generally comes from our organs of the body, sense organs. But when we say super sensitive joy, really means it's a joy, the happiness is really coming not because of the result and the experience from any organ of the body, but it's really the soul in its own original self, in bodiless stage, or in remembrance of Baba. That's the true joy, and you get so merged in that. Sometimes say, oh, it's so blissful, it's so beautiful. So that's what really it means to be in supersensitive joy, that not temporarily taking pleasures. Yeah, when that is there too, but supersensitive joy is the real joy, which is everlasting and gives lot of intoxication and the power to absorb as a gopi. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. So now we will remember Baba. Take drishti, share drishti.
Om Shanti. So beautiful. We all will be in super sense of joy like gopis and gopis. Not only gopi, but gopis also for brothers. So good night, everyone. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, Didi.